Rubhanuga Prabhu. He might have been in Toronto for many years, but he pretty much gives class all across Canada and to various centers around the world. For those of you who know Rubhanuga Prabhu, he served in our community and continues to serve in so many ways, some of them being the Pujari service. He regularly facilitates Srimad Bhagavatam classes and other discourses from Bhagavad Gita, be it online or in person. He's everywhere. He's extremely busy in speaking in various different communities, like I said, not just in Toronto, but all across Canada, Vancouver, Ottawa, to name a few. We're so happy that he's here to be speaking again at Iskcon Toronto. Today he's going to be speaking on the topic of faith, and someone from like Rubhanuga Prabhu, who has been practicing the process of bhakti for over 30 plus years, to hear from him speak on faith is going to be very much practical and relevant for all of us to know. So we encourage everyone to pay close attention, and you can ask any questions towards the end of the session. So Prabhu is here. Please join me in welcoming with a big round of applause for Rubhanuga Prabhu.
Thank you, H.G.Rubhanuga. Welcome to all of you to the Sunday program. So I know that some of you are new, so I'll just tell you what we're going to do. We start with invocation prayers, and then we get to the discourse. And the invocation prayers is actually glorification of the place called Vrindavan, with our Krishna. Jai Jai Radha Iskcon founder Acharya, BBT founder Acharya, Srila Prabhu'S ki jai. Prem Shri Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Shri Shri Gauritai ki jai. Radha Krishna Dilip Tanu Vipralam Vigra Shri Gaur Sundar ki jai. Shri Radha Shri Gopinath ki jai. Shri Jagannath Shri Baldev Shrimati Subhadra Maharani ki jai. कि विघ्न विनाशकारी सिंधे लाभ महाराज तुलसी महाराज all glories to the assembly of Krishna. All glories to the assembly of Krishna. All glories to the assembly of Krishna. All glories to Shri Shri Guru Shri Namo Vishnu Krishna Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Chari Nirvishesha Shuddhavara Rashtra Pradesh Shri Prabhu'S Ki Jai. Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Jnana-anjan-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam yena bhutale Swayam Rupam Kadamyam Dadati Sopadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Pada-kamalam Shri Guruna Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sarvajatam Sahagam Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savabhutam Parijan Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagam Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitanscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Govinda Radha Kantu Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sudai Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kathasimudbhyo cha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So welcome once again to Sunday Feast program. I commend you taking the trouble to come in this rain, inclement weather, and I hope that you'll enjoy the program tonight and make it worth your while to come all the way to the temple from wherever you live. As I look around, I noticed that many, if not most of you, are relatively new in this temple. You may have been going to other temples, I don't know, but in this temple, you seem like quite new. Some of you may be even new to Krishna consciousness. Some of you may be not so new, but the topic I chose today was or is faith. What does it mean? How do you develop it? How do you maintain it? What's the benefit of faith? So I'm going to start by defining the word faith. And I actually looked it up. It showed two meanings, which are very appropriate, I thought. One is complete trust and confidence. Whether it's a person or thing or whatever, it's complete trust and confidence. The second meaning was unflinching, unwavering belief without requiring, or that requires no evidence or proof, no empirical proof required. So once again, faith is complete trust and confidence, and or unflinching, unwavering belief that requires no proof, no evidence. So, when we're talking about complete trust and faith, obviously we're talking about a person or events or some theory, but you'd expect that on a mundane material platform. On the other hand, a belief that requires no evidence or empirical proof, clearly we're talking about transcendental faith. And of course, they both exist. The mundane faith is a little bit easier to understand because we're talking about faith in something we can see, we can touch. Basically, it's in the realm or the region of our senses and mind. Transcendental, on the other hand, we're talking about something that is not in the region or realm of our senses and mind. It's something we cannot see, something we're not sure exists, something we don't know much about, not from practical experience anymore. Maybe we have read about it, we have heard about it, but that's about it. So we're going to talk about both of them to understand not just the difference between the two, but also understand the importance of both of them in our life. So let's talk about the mundane faith first. Basically, we can say that it is a requirement to live. Imagine having no faith in anything. You'll be afraid to come out of the house. So for example, and I'm going to keep making it interactive. Is there anybody who's never flown on an airplane? One person, okay? Anybody else? Okay, so 2 people out of maybe 150 to 200 people. So all of you who have flown on an airplane, let me ask you one more question. How many of you went to the cockpit, interviewed the pilot and said, show me your certificate that you're a trained pilot? Anybody? How many of you went to the cockpit to check that pilot is not drunk out of his mind? How many asked to check the mechanical certification that this plane is ready to fly? Nobody. What does that mean? That means somehow you trust that the airline's policies and other systems that have been put in place and the pilot himself is responsible enough to not fly, he's not trained to do it, he's drunk out of his mind or whatever. Although we read in the newspaper, those things happen, but we still happen. Similarly, when you go out in a car, do we send a note out, drunk drivers not on the workplace, I'm on the road? We don't do that. We just hope and trust that all the drivers are not drunk, although we find otherwise. But we have to trust. We got to go on and on. My point is that if we don't have trust in anything, life will be hell. We'll be so fearful of everything. So therefore, automatically, sometimes a mechanism that works in our body in a system that we say no, we trust. So it basically comes automatically. But we know that accidents happen. We know that planes crash and all those kind of things. So therefore, our trust in mundane things is somewhat misplaced. But we can't help it because we've been trained to trust our senses. If we can't touch it, we can't feel it, we can't read it, we cannot hear it, then we don't want to trust it. The problem is that our senses are imperfect. What that means is that we cannot see something that's very big, very far, or very small, something that's invisible. So for example, how many of you have seen electrons, protons, atoms? How many have you seen? How many have you seen the next universe? How many have you seen the planets that they keep talking about? Except for the ones that are very close that we can see in the sky and so on. But we believe all that. Even though somebody else's calculation, even those people who are saying they exist have not seen it. Some mathematical formulas that use, some other mechanical stuff used to say, yeah, it exists. And we say, okay, it exists. And then we find out a lot of times, no, it doesn't exist. Or it's not what we thought it was. Or we're just confused. Or the theories change. A lot of you, I'm sure, remember when COVID started, March 2020, there was so much confusion about what is it. Should we wear a mask, should we not wear a mask, and all the theories, and it kept changing. The doctors kept coming on the news and kept saying, we don't know, but we are guessing. But we believe that. So therefore, the point I'm trying to make is that mundane trust can often often be misplaced. But because we don't have a choice, we do it anyway. On the other hand, transcendental faith is in things that don't change over time. So for example, those of you who have read Bhagavad Gita, from the 4th chapter, text 1, Krishna told Arjuna that I told this message, the same message I'm giving you today, Arjuna, as Bhagavad Gita, I gave it to Sangha, who gave it to his son Manu, who gave it to his son Shwaku and Manu. And Arjuna said, wait a minute, that was millions of years ago. You were not even there. And he said, no, I wasn't there. The message that he gave millions of years ago, the message that he gave 5,000 years ago is still true today. In other words, the message of Bhagavad Gita is timeless. Transcendental messages coming from the Lord are timeless. Why? Because he does not have the 4 defects that we all do. One of them being imperfect senses. So whatever Krishna says is called aparushya, which means without any faults. It's perfect always. It's perfect then, it's perfect today, it's perfect eternally. So therefore we have to have faith. It's having things that don't change with time. Like Bhagavad Gita, like other scriptures who have been either spoken by or inspired by the Lord. So it's very important that we know that. I'm not talking about blind faith. It's just because I keep saying you haven't seen him, and so on and so forth. I'm talking about faith with logic. Because if it was blind faith, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, they would not be full of questions and answers. As a matter of fact, 100% is questions and answers. Arjuna is asking, Krishna is answering. In Bhagavatam, everyone is asking. The sages are the Visharada are asking, King Parikshit. King Parikshit is asking, sometimes Vidura is asking, sometimes Uddhava is asking, Krishna is answering, sometimes Maitreya is answering. My point is, Yudhishthira Maharaj is asking, somebody is asking questions and somebody is answering. So therefore, it is at least some logic is used, some reasoning is used, and makes sense when the answer is given to the person who is asking the questions, because the question asking people are extremely qualified. And that's why there's no lineage. Very qualified people. If they're satisfied with the answer, you know that the answer is applicable to everyone else. So the point that I'm trying to make is that mundane faith has a place in life, but it's many times misplaced and can lead us to conclusions that are not totally correct. Transcendental faith, on the other hand, is something that always leads us to the truth. As a matter of fact, the word faith in Sanskrit means Shraddha. Shraddha has 2 root words in it. One is Shraddha, and that is Dadati. Dadati means to give. Shraddha means the truth. Therefore, Shraddha means the one that leads to the truth and reality. So therefore, faith needs to be on something that's true all the time and is real as well, for it to be properly effective. So therefore, we need to understand a little bit more about the faith itself. Faith is of 3 kinds. One is soft faith, which is the first kind, which is you think you understand this and therefore you believe it. But it's very soft in that somebody else with some solid logic to prove otherwise, then you go with them. Say, that's okay, and your faith is gone. Or if things go wrong, then your faith is shattered and you're gone. So it's very soft faith, needs to be developed, but starting that one. Second is a little more developed faith, in which case you have the faith, but you don't understand the reasons why you have the faith. You don't understand the scriptures, you don't study the scriptures, but you just believe it. And the final, of course, the third kind is firm faith or nishtha, where you understand the scriptures, you study the scriptures, based on the logic of the scriptures, you develop that faith, or firm up that faith, and now it's become unflinching. So now no matter what happens, your faith is not going to be shattered, it's not going to be shaken. It's called unwavering faith in whatever it is. And that is what Krishna is asking us to have. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Now, a lot of times people will tell you something happened in their life where they wanted to get something and they said, Krishna, I have full faith in you, please give it to me, and they got it. Or they were not expecting it, it was against all odds, and it happened the way they wanted it. They said, look, that's the proof. That Krishna can do miracles, my faith is more firm. It's true, it's okay, but this is not what we're talking about either. Because sometimes Krishna may not give you what you want, and then your faith is shattered. So it depends upon whether Krishna acts favorably to you or not. So again, that's not the real faith. The real faith is where we are doing something for Krishna because we believe Krishna exists. We believe Krishna has powers. We believe Krishna loves us. We believe that Krishna will reciprocate our love. Krishna loves us more than we love Him. Krishna cares for us more than we care for Him. Krishna is ready to be there for us whether we are ready for Him or not. That's the faith we're talking about. And that's the faith we're talking in more detail about how to execute that faith. And it's not just that we want to serve Krishna. The faith means that Krishna is ready and willing to accept our service. So therefore, take any kind of service. You're cooking for Krishna. The faith is that this is Radharani's kitchen. Krishna is there sitting on the altar. When we offer it, He will actually eat it. And He gives the remnants. Therefore, I want to make it as good as possible, as tasty as possible. I'm chanting my rounds and I have this full faith that because the holy name of the Lord is not different from the Lord, as I chant, Krishna is sitting here with me, listening to my chanting. And is enjoying it because I'm chanting with love. Which is very important because if the feelings are not there, the prayers, the service is not effective. His Holiness Radha Swami gave a very wonderful example that I'd like to present to you. He said, imagine a letter being delivered to our house. We pick up the letter, it's a beautiful envelope, really fancy, nice envelope. So, wow. You open the envelope, and there's no message in it. Or we open the envelope, the message very, garbage. It sounds like somebody doesn't know how to wrote it, and they can't understand it. So prayers to Krishna, service to Krishna is like that envelope. Krishna doesn't care about the envelope, just like we don't care about the envelope. But He cares about what's inside that envelope, what's behind that service. And that is looking for what are the feelings in our heart behind the service we perform. Are we doing it with love? Are we doing it out of love for Krishna? Are we doing this to please Krishna? Are we doing this with full faith that if I'm serving, Krishna will be pleased with my service? That's the letter Krishna is looking for, not the envelope. So once again, faith implies that Krishna is here, He exists, He's accepting my service, He's reciprocating with me for all the love I have. So basically what it's leading to is that faith and surrender to Krishna kind of go hand in hand. They're not the same thing, but they go hand in hand. In that, the greater the faith, the greater the surrender. The greater the surrender, the greater the faith. So as one increases, the other increases. And they go on. And there's no limit. You can go on extending the degree of surrender as much as we can, and correspondingly will increase the degree of our faith. And Krishna is looking for her. So Krishna is looking for that faith. And I'll talk about it in more detail in a minute. But before I do that, I want to talk about, okay, I understand what faith is, but how do I develop it? Because I know people who don't have any faith. You try to tell them about the scriptures, and the word they use is mythology. I try to tell them what does the word mythology mean. Mythology comes from the word myth. Myth means not true. Myth means believing something that is not true. So mythology means none of this is true. But we made up in stories, pious entertainment. Come and you clap and say, wow, what a lila, beautiful, beautiful. But then same people, they look at Krishna as a womanizer, and Lord Ramchandra as a cruel man who dumped his wife. Because the faith is not there. It's just mythology for them, just stories. On the other hand, those who have faith, those who understand, those who have love for Krishna, love for Lord Ramchandra, they see the same situation. Very different. They see that as reciprocation of love between the devotees and the Lord. They see that as the upholding of the religious principles on part of the law. So very different. So therefore, we must understand how do we develop that faith that I'm talking about. So there are two ways given. One is what's known as sukriti or spiritual credits. And we get spiritual credits by serving a devotee. It can be gyas sukriti or agyas sukriti. Means you may earn that sukriti or highest credit, spiritual credit, I should say, knowingly or unknowingly. It doesn't matter. The effect in both cases is the same. It's like if you touch a fire, a hot stove in your house, knowingly or unknowingly, the effect is the same. So similarly, whether you serve a devotee knowingly or unknowingly, the effect is the same. And I'll give a simple example. Let's say one of us goes to India and plants a mango tree. And then comes back to Canada. 3 years later, that tree has matured, the seed has grown to a tree which is matured, is giving fruits. And this person has no idea what is happening. One day, in the month of June, which is a very hot month in India, a devotee is walking, he's very tired, in some shape, sees this nice mango tree, sits down under the tree, gets some rest, looks up, ripe, beautiful mangoes, picks a couple of them, eats it, and goes on his way. The person in Canada has no idea what is happening. But the spiritual credit is transferred to the account of this person. Because even though unknowingly he served that devotee. I give one other very quick example. The chapter is going through Young Street. There's a McDonald's on Young Street, you may have noticed. Somebody's coming out of the McDonald's, the student is now one large glass of Coca-Cola in one hand and hamburger in the other hand. And he's trying to do all three things at the same time. And he sees this parade going. And he sees these devotees dancing and chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And he says, these are nice devotees. That's it. There's no devotion in his heart. He doesn't know anything about Krishna, nothing but Radha. He says, these devotees are nice. They're acting so nicely. You can't play spiritual credit. So it's not difficult to get. But that's one, that spiritual credit transfers into some amount of faith. Then, another way is to associate with those devotees who have faith. And in their association, we develop that faith and it grows as we, in their association, we get involved in bhajan kriya, which is chanting, serving, etc. Very soon we go through the process known as getting rid of unwanted material desires, and then the faith becomes more firm as the time goes on. So that's basically a way to develop that faith. Once you have developed that faith, we find that actually Krishna is looking for it, looking for full faith in him. That's Krishna's expectation of us. And those of us who have done that, they develop one other quality, which is they see everything the way Krishna does. For those of you who have read Bhagavad Gita, you will remember chapter 10, text 14. Arjuna says that Sarvam etat hitam Janma Madasya Keshava. Arjuna is saying, I believe every word, my dear Lord Krishna, that you're saying to me. And there's a very interesting story in that regards. One day, Lord Krishna and Arjuna, this is before the Kurukshetra war, were walking someplace. And Krishna suddenly looked up and he said, a bird hovering in the sky. And he said to Arjuna, hey Arjuna, nice dove, huh? Arjuna looked up. He said, hey Yadav, that's right, that's a beautiful dove. And Arjuna said, no, you know what? I don't think that's a dove, that's an eagle. And Arjuna said, yes Keshava, that's a great looking eagle, powerful, so nice. And Krishna looked up again and said, no Arjuna, it's not, it's actually a crow. And Arjuna said, yes Krishna, you're right, this is a crow. So Krishna stopped. They were walking, Krishna stopped. Krishna looked at Arjuna and smiled and said, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to do? You know, you can't see for yourself what it is. And this is what Arjuna said. He said, hey Krishna, I don't trust my naked eyes. They're imperfect. But I trust your words. If you think it's a dove, it's a dove. If you think it's a crow, it's a crow. You decide, I'll go. That is what faith means. If Krishna has given an instruction, if Krishna has made a statement, no questions asked. That's what it is. But Krishna is not just saying it to anybody, Krishna is not just accepting anybody. He's requiring full faith, he's requiring full surrender. I'll give another quick story on that one. Most of you must have heard about Draupadi. And just in case you have not, she was the wife of a group of brothers, 5 brothers, known as Pandavas. They had 100 cousins known as Kauravas. And Kauravas were not very nice people. So one day, they decided to cheat the Pandavas. They basically cheated them in a game of gambling. The Pandavas lost everything they had, including their wife. They put her at a stake and they lost. Now, the Kauravas decided to insult their wife, whose name was Draupadi, in the middle of, in front of thousands of people who were sitting in the assembly house. So one of them, by the name of Dushasana, he went and dragged Draupadi by hair into the assembly house. And his brother Duryodhana said, strip her naked. And he started pulling on her side. You can imagine the embarrassment. Even today, 5,000 years ago, it was like worse than death. Being embarrassed like that. So Draupadi was very upset. She called Krishna, hey Govinda, help me. And then she looked at her husbands and they bowed down. Then she called other people, nobody helped. Finally she said, Govinda, please help me. And she was hanging on to her sari. And she knew she cannot win. This person was pulling a sari at the strength of 6,000 elephants. You can imagine how this woman can fight him. And she realized that she has no hope now. She's going to be insulted. So she raised both her hands. Govinda, please help. And immediately Krishna showed up. And then the first ever in this universe sari bhanda was opened. This unlimited amount of sari was supplied to Draupadi. And this boy, Dushasana, kept pulling miles and miles and miles of length of sari. Eventually he got tired, but there was no end to the sari. So that's the incident that happened. Sometime later, Draupadi met Krishna. Now, Krishna really loved Draupadi as his own sister. As a matter of fact, he named her Krishna. Krishna means the feminine form of Krishna and his sister. So that's how much he loved Draupadi as his own sister. So she was very informal with him. So she met him and said, Krishna, I have a complaint. What's that? So she told the whole incident. He said, why did you take so long? Why did you take so long? I mean, I was almost dying there. And I kept asking for you, you didn't come. It took so long to come. And Krishna smiled. He said, Draupadi, let me explain this to you. He said, first time you called me, You were looking at your husbands, expecting them to help you. So I said, oh, she doesn't need me. So I didn't come. Next time you called me, you were looking at Dronacharya, Vishnu Pitama, all these Vidura, all these elders in the assembly. So I said, she doesn't need me. So I didn't come. Then you called me again. And now you're holding on to your story. I call you by name. And I said, she's depending upon her own strength. She doesn't need me. So I didn't come. It's only when you raise both hands and you accepted your hopeless situation, your helpless situation, you called for me, that came immediately because your surrender was complete at that time. So this is what Krishna is looking for. The more surrendered we are, the more He's there for us. So if we call for Krishna, He doesn't show up, that means there's something lacking in our surrender, something lacking in our faith. Because Krishna is a kind of individual, with full surrender to God, He cannot help Himself. He says, Aham Bhakt Parathi. He says, I'm a slave of my devotees. I'll do whatever they ask me to do. That's why the gopis of Vrindavan could make Krishna dance for as long as they wanted, for a little small bowl of buttermilk. It wasn't the buttermilk, it was their mood of surrender that made Krishna dance. Everybody says, Krishna's the puppeteer, he makes us dance. And Krishna says, no, 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 my devotees make me dance. I dance to their tune because they're so surrendered. So therefore, the point is that Krishna is there to reciprocate. We just have to develop that thing. And He doesn't reciprocate just with human beings. He reciprocates with anyone, any living entity, because they're all His children. And I'm going to tell you one other story about an animal who was surrendered. He's famously known as Gajendra. Gaj means elephant, Indra means the king. So basically he was the king of elephants. And a very powerful king, hundreds of thousands of soldiers, thousands of wives, thousands of children. One day, they decided to go on a picnic. So the whole entourage goes to this place, nice park, nice lake. They have beautiful lilies, beautiful lotus flowers. They decide to have a good time. They all enter the pond, the lake, and they start splashing water at each other, just enjoying themselves. After some time, everybody else came out, but the king of the elephant said, I'm still going to enjoy a little bit more. So he stayed in the water and was splashing water in there. Suddenly, there was a crocodile who was living in the same lake, took an offense to all this disturbance to his life. So he decided to attack the elephant. And his jaws grabbed one leg of the elephant. Those of you who have seen crocodile, you know the teeth are very large, very powerful. And when he bites, it hurts. So despite the thick skin that elephants have, just biting through the skin, the elephant was in pain. So he decided to pull himself out. The crocodile wouldn't let him. For 1,000 years, they fought. Now because the crocodile is in water, this is his land, his area, the crocodile was getting more and more powerful, the elephant was getting more and more weak. Finally, he started asking everybody who was watching from the shore, his soldiers, his generals, his children, his wife, asking everybody to help. And they all said, my dear sir, we tried, we could not help you, we are very helpless, sorry we can't help you. So then he was all alone in front of all these people, not able to help himself. He fought for 1,000 years and became very, very weak. He understood this is his last moment, now he's going to die. Another helpless, hopeless situation. In that moment of realization that he's about to die, he remembered God. And he picked up one of the lotus flowers from the lake with his trunk and he offered it to Krishna. Now, can he see Krishna? No, he can't. All he sees is blue sky. That's all, empty space, blue sky. But he knows Krishna is looking at him. He knows Krishna will come for him. He knows Krishna is there to save him. He knows Krishna is my well-wisher. He knows Krishna is my friend. He knows Krishna will come and he offers the notice. With that surety, 100% surety in his mind, in his heart, Krishna will save him. And Krishna says, I can't resist something like that. He shows up and cuts the neck after a crocodile and releases. Now, how many rounds a day do you think Gajendra was chanting every day? Clearly none. Right? What offering was he making before that? None. But when he made that offering of the lotus flower, he knew Krishna exists. He knew Krishna is very powerful. He knew Krishna is my friend. He knew Krishna is my well-wisher. Krishna will save me. That's it. No arguments. And Krishna reciprocated with that amount of surrender. He reciprocated with that amount of faith. I cannot let him down. And that is one of the most inspiring stories in Srimad Bhagavatam. Big lesson for us. Every time we are here in the temple or at home serving Krishna, we have to feel that I'm not doing this for nothing. I'm doing this for Krishna who exists. I'm doing this for Krishna. Krishna will accept my service. Krishna will accept the love with which I'm doing this. And Krishna will wear, for example, making garland. Krishna will wear that garland. If you are cooking, Krishna will taste whatever I have cooked. When we're doing this with that faith, Krishna says, I will. I can't resist this. And that increases our faith in Krishna even more. And something very interesting happens. With that faith, the love in our heart also increases, which again increases the faith. So once again, this competition goes on. Love increases, faith increases. Love increases, faith increases, surrender increases. All these things keep on increasing and increasing and increasing. There is no limit. But we get more and more attached to it. And our faith, because it's strong, unwavering, unflinching faith is what's known as. I'll finish with one other story which points to how when a prayer is made sincerely, Krishna listens. And this is a true story. This happened during the Second World War. There was a unit of soldiers who were fighting the opposing side. And suddenly they realized that they're surrounded and the enemy is much stronger, much larger in numbers, so they decided to retreat. And the enemy started chasing them. Now they were running for their life as fast as they could, scared out of their mind. And as they were running, one soldier got separated from the rest of the unit. So now imagine, you are alone in some kind of a forest or mountain, and you're being chased by hundreds of enemy soldiers who are going to just shoot you. So as he was running, he suddenly saw a cave in the mountain. He decided to enter it because he said, I'm so exhausted, I'm so tired, I cannot run anymore. Maybe have some hope if I hide. So he crawled into the cave, and again was exhausted, his fell on his face, closed his eyes, and prayed to the Lord. He said, my dear Lord, if you can save me this time, I promise I'll spend the rest of my life serving you. I'll spend the rest of my life taking your message to everybody else in the world. Please save me this time. Now this is coming from the heart. Suddenly the soldier noticed there is a spider where the opening of the cave is. The spider starts to weave a web. Now the soldier's reaction is, what is this? I asked the Lord to save me, and he says a spider? What's the spider going to do for me when the soldiers come? But the spider kept working, weaving a web where the opening of the cave was. And suddenly the soldier heard the sound of the footsteps, the boots of the enemy soldiers. They were talking and they were looking for any other soldiers. And one of the soldiers came to the mouth of the cave. And the soldier said, I'm done, I'm finished. My Lord did not help me. And then he hears the soldier outside talking to his comrades. He says, it's okay, there can't be anybody here. There's a web, spider web on the opening. Nobody could have entered this cave without breaking the web. The fact that the web is complete means there's nobody inside this door. And they all left. This is Krishna. Krishna is very smart. He knows what to do. He knows how to help. And he's willing to help. All he's looking for is that degree of faith, that degree of surrender. It doesn't matter what situation we're in. I've been giving you examples of life and death, but it applies even in the normal day-to-day life. Because remember, we are all in the jaws of a crocodile, known as Maya. And that crocodile is biting us. It's got a lot of teeth. And it's hurting us. Every once in a while, the crocodile releases, withdraws its teeth. And say, relief. We call that pleasure, happiness. So, relief from pain is defined as pleasure business by the material world. So, it's great life. I'm a millionaire, I got servants, and I got car, and house, and wife, and on and on and on. And I'm famous. So, this happiness. And suddenly, other tooth comes in. The crocodile bites again, in a different place of the land, with a different tooth. And it hurts again. And it goes on. Released by. That's what's happening in our life. So therefore, the real purpose of our life is to get out of the jaws of the crocodile. And the only way we'll do that is to follow the process that's there to develop that faith, develop a mood of surrender, which is what? Actually, a number of things. Association with the devotees, chanting the holy name, reading the scriptures, visiting Dham. Very important. If we do that sincerely, we will be able to increase our faith, our surrender to the point where Krishna will be there all the time. And I'll tell you, in case you have difficulty believing that, there's another devotee by the name of Ambarish, King Ambarish. Lord Vishnu had said to Sudarshan Chakra, which is the disc that he has, you can travel at the speed of mind to be hovering around Ambarish Maharaj all the time. And Sudarshan Chakra said, my Lord, I can move at the speed of mind. Doesn't take me any time to get anywhere. Why do I need to be hovering around him? And Lord Vishnu said, no, that will be too late. You're not fast enough. So how about it? The point of this story is, he cares so much. Doesn't want anything to go wrong, doesn't want any time to lapse what his devotee is asking for. So let us try to be that devotee who has that degree of faith, that degree of surrender. That Krishna is mine, Krishna is my friend, Krishna is my mother, Krishna is my father, Krishna is my grandfather, Krishna is my guardian, Krishna is there to protect me. Avashyaraki Krishna. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Krishna will protect you. I have no doubt in my mind. Krishna, I can't hit you. That comes simply from the process of, 5 processes I talked about. One of them that's most common is chanting of the holy name. So let's end this class by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra once. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you very much, Hare Krishna.
Let's give a big round of applause for what we have to do. It's so beautiful in this topic of faith. So before we conclude, we do have some special announcements for today. We would like to update everyone about the recently concluded Bhadra Purnima campaign. I'm sure if you attended the program a couple of weeks ago, we spoke on this very momentous Bhadra Purnima. And we are happy to let you all know that Toronto participated in this campaign with the goal to distribute 250 Srimad Bhagavatam sets. And we are so pleased to let you know that we met this goal of 250 Bhagavatam sets. This was part of the global campaign to distribute 43,000 sets. So globally, everyone reached the goal. In fact, we exceeded the goal by distributing 45,000 plus Srimad Bhagavatam sets. This was by the efforts of various communities around the world, over 250 centers, and many of you within our community also supported this endeavor. So thanks to each and every one of you for participating in this Bhadra Purnima campaign. Yes, thank you. Yes, speaking of the next big campaign is going to be around the month of December. Hard to believe that we just have a little over 3 months left for 2022. As you all know, December is the month of Gita Jayanti, the month when the Bhagavad Gita was spoken. So we will be having elaborate celebrations to this wonderful upcoming festivities of Bhagavad Gita. You will be knowing more in the upcoming months. But we just wanted to let you know that everyone who has a child, or if you know someone who has a kid, we are open for registering for the Gita contest. So over the years, the Gita contest has been a popular session in engaging the kids in knowing more about the Bhagavad Gita. And it's been organized by the Krishna Fund School, so they are also having regular weekly Sunday classes. So we just started it about 2 weeks ago, sorry. So if you want to know more about the upcoming Gita Jayanti contest, as well as the Krishna Fund School, we encourage everyone to have a word with the Krishna Fund School teachers. So they usually have their sessions from about 6:30 p.m. to about 7:30. So you're most welcome to visit downstairs to speak with one of the Krishna Fund School teachers. So lastly, before I pass on the microphone to Indresh Prabhu, who is here, we want to quickly acknowledge all the wonderful cooks for preparing an elaborate meal, which will be served very shortly. So there are a few cooks who are going to take a name, and then we'll chant not one round, we'll just chant the Hare Krishna mantra once. So that's for Bhuvana Malini Mataji, Bhuvana Pujita Mataji, Padmakshi Mataji, Nandasut Prabhu, Krishna Sharan Prabhu, Sevanand Chaitanya Prabhu, as well as Baba Prabhu. So they all were engaged in cooking for today. I'm sure our teaching for today. And very quickly, we chant the Hare Krishna mantra once. 1, 2, 3. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you all. So now I'm going to pass it over to Indresh Prabhu, who's going to be introducing a very special guest who is here with us today. So we'll be there for another few more minutes. And after that, we will serve the prasad. So over to you, Indresh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, everyone. We'd like to give a very warm welcome to Her Grace Rinda Prabhu, who's gracing us from Iskcon, Winnipeg. Actually, Prabhu, can you come up so we can offer you a garland? Hare Krishna! Hare Bol! Gauranga! So we're very pleased. Rinda Prabhu was supposed to be in Halifax giving a Sunday Feast lecture right now, but some of you might have heard about a hurricane passing through. So Her Grace Prahana Prabhu, our very own, and Her Grace Rinda Prabhu were driving in a car. They hit Ottawa, they hit Montreal. They're supposed to be going to Halifax, St. John, and Fredericton, if I'm correct. And something called a hurricane came through, so they had to turn around. It's our mercy she's here right now. I don't want to embarrass her too much, but she does a lot of work. She's the Iskcon Canada GBC Zonal Supervisor. That's a lot, governing body commissioner, zonal supervisor. That's a lot to say. But what that means is from coast to coast, for Srila Prabhupada's mercy, we have temples in Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg, of course, Toronto, half a dozen in GTA, Montreal, Ottawa, and now fledgling temples on the East Coast. And she goes out there and makes sure that everybody's in regulatory approval, our charity status is good, child protection, a lot of the groundwork on the back end. She does hours and hours every single day, full time, to ensure that we're in compliance and that the movement is growing. And she helps His Holiness Bhakti Marg Swami quite a bit, who's our governing body commissioner. So with that said, we'd like to go over and give a warm welcome.
Thank you so much for such a warm welcome to your beautiful, vibrant temple. I had a tour of the renovations downstairs. That's absolutely lovely. I definitely remember it from years ago when it was not so lovely, and this is really fantastic to see it like that. And I've had the opportunity to visit your Govindas. It's such a lovely, vibrant temple you have now with so many nice things. Thank you so much for allowing me to visit. Hare Krishna.
That's what we've been